When two channels collaborate doing a video response towards another video response, we get a playlist. Seems legit, seems legit. So yeah, hi guys, if you, Cr0wd3d Flat here. If you're not aware of what I'm doing, this is a playlist of video responses between me and another YouTuber called Cr0wd3d. He is part of the Scottish branch of the project, I guess the Cr0wd project, or the Cr0wd, whatever you want to call it. He's a Scottish branch, and we've been talking for so long. Literally, may as well be brothers by now. Like, what's up, bro? He was talking about in his video response towards me was about bullying. Bullying is a serious thing. I know I spoke in mine about like how I dealt with bullying, how I chose to deal with it was to blend into the background and rather not be seen. But I also did his choice a long time ago in my first year in high school, which was violence is gonna be the way out. I wasn't an aggressive person. I wouldn't just start a fight for the sheer fun of it. I'd start a fight if someone came up to me and did something to me that I didn't quite agree with, and it was seen more as an aggressive abuse towards me. So I would literally just lash out, and I'm not the strongest person in the world, but I could leave someone on the floor. I remember two lads, sorry, now we're both, all three of us are friends, we're all quite good chums now. I haven't spoken to any of them, but I know we used to have a lot of chats and stuff like that. But I remember them calling my sister Chelsea a slut and a prostitute. Like Magnum's sister, this lad called his sister a prostitute. These two called her a prostitute in front of me, and by then I was an aggressive person then. I wasn't a pacifist yet. So I turned around when I heard this, and I had one up against a locker with one arm, and the other one I smacked to the ground, and he went down to the floor, and I remember kicking him. I had what we call like a rage, like a red mist at that point. You know, I just don't remember doing it, but I remember being there. Now, I remember bits of it, like I remember I had a lad on a locker with my arm on his throat, and I remember kicking some guy on the floor. Yes, I took both of them down. They were in the same stature as me though, so I knew I kind of had a win, you know. So I knew I had a chance of actually beating someone. Not like in an aggressive way, like, I mean like, having that chance to not lash out, but to prove a point that you don't mess with me or my family or anyone around me that I know well enough to say that, hey, this is not right. So I remember taking both of them down. One of them was pretty much, he wasn't really expecting me to turn around and basically take him down to the floor him, and his friend on a locker. They weren't exactly prepared, but I didn't really jump them. They kind of knew, they kind of saw me coming, but they just weren't, I must be having a laugh, but I took them down. And I remember being put in isolation. Now isolation is where basically, it's in the name, you isolate the person from anyone else. And I remember sitting in there, and I remember thinking, I don't like this, because if I do this, I'm just going to get into a lot more trouble. I'm just going to get more angry with people, and they're going to think, oh, I could take him on. And I remember just telling myself, what's the word that people don't believe in fighting? I was like, it's a pacifist, innit? I'll be a pacifist. PA, passive aggression. I did a lot of PA. Let's say that I did a lot of PA, a lot of passive aggression, where instead of using violence, I used a lot of like mental stuff. Like I used to fool with them, because the people in my year weren't smart. The smart people were in a different category. The people that were in the it crowd weren't smart. They were stupid. So I remember one of them coming up to me going, "Oh, you get it." I remember just shutting him up. I remember just completely stopping him in his tracks of abuse, just of a simple play of words, which I can't remember what I said because it was so long ago. I remember just using a lot of passive aggression towards people. I couldn't get into trouble for it because no one could really say, "Oh, I hit someone." I didn't. I never hit anyone after that. I just messed with their heads, which I loved doing. I love still doing that now. I remember someone came up to my brother. This was when we were a bit younger. I remember doing this when I was about 10. But someone came up to my brother, and because my brother's got ADHD, he wasn't really good at school until like he got into college, and he did a lot better. He kind of blown up and like did crack down and hit in college. But I remember this lad taking the mess out of him because he wasn't good at maths. I remember him going, I bet you don't know 25 plus 25. And my brother looked at me, not a clue. He was like, "I don't know what this is." And I just remember going, "It's 50. It's not the most obvious, it's not like a good comeback, but the guy who was picking on my brother wasn't exactly smart himself. He came up to me and went, "No, it's not." I was like, "Yeah, it is 50. It's 20 plus 20. He was like, "Yeah, that's 40. And what's 5 plus 5? And I went 10. And we put them together." He just walked away. He was like, no, he just got owned by someone he's never met and he will never meet again. I guess. Yeah, you probably have met him a lot of times. Just with the blue hair, he's probably gone. It's a guy with blue hair. But I just using a lot of passive aggression was a lot more easier for me because I can think on my feet. Doing drama made me quicker on my feet, made me more quick-witted. I wasn't strong. I wasn't well built. I'm not well built now. I'm more of a tree. No, not a tree, but like a stick. I'm not well built. There's nothing there. But I didn't need muscle to win fights. I just needed to use my brain. And I did. I used it a lot against people. And since then, I've grew more developed around everyone else, and I've become more like that guy that that you can't win in an argument because he's like already sorted you out, or that guy that will stick up for you because he's that guy. And I'm always going to be that guy. If you know me well enough, I'm going to be there since day one. If you end up in a fight and I'm there, I'll be there in that fight. Because that's who I am. If you're in a fight and I'm there and I know you and I know you personally and you're my closest friend, I will jump in more than glad and beat the crap out of the person that's offending you or offended you or anyone in your family. I would be more than glad to dive in with you and take him down. I'm not a well-built person, but I'll do it because I remember. This is a bit more recent now. My friend's leaving day, Ryan. Not Cr0wd3d, but another Ryan, my friend Ryan. He was close friends to my brother, and we became friends about shortly after that, and we all see each other as family. Everyone is seen as family to me, and they see me as they see me as their family, like another person in their family tree. So everyone's the same. So basically what Ryan did, he was moving away again to a different place, and he had some issues with his fellow neighbour. Now his fellow neighbour was a carrier of weaponry such as a knife. He didn't have it on him the day, thank God, because everyone was drinking. We were all drinking and we had a few beers and we were all sat down having a laugh. But this guy, I don't know who he is or what he does in his spare time, but he came up to me. He chose the guy with the specs, and I remember he came up to me after he had a good rant at Ryan, and I basically stood up. And the rant with him and Ryan, I stood up and went, "Hey mate, you've had too many. Go now before the pub kicks you out." And he left, and he came back in, grabbed me by the scruff of my neck, like my shirt, pulled me up, and square nutted me right there. If it wasn't for my glasses, I would have had a broken nose. But at the point he picked me up and nutted me, my friend Ryan dove in and smacked him across the face. The bartenders couldn't do anything because, like, they're not allowed to get involved with customers because that's their thing, that's their rule. But I remember just Ryan diving in, smacking this guy and dragging him outside. And he locked it. He bolt locked it. At this time it was shut in, so you could do that, you know. He just, like, bolted it. That was it. That was it for the rest of the night. I was sat there, and I said, "Can I have some ice?" I was at the bar with, like, my nose like that, like, "Can I have some ice?" And they went, "No, we don't have ice." The only pub I've ever been to that doesn't have ice. I went, "Do you have anything cold?" They went, "A Diet Coke." I had a Diet Coke on my nose just to stop it from swelling. I was like, great. I opened it later on and drank it, but you know, hey, I just took a nut into the face, but I drank it, so I was like, a win-win. But dealing with people like that, and I kind of tangented off, didn't I? But dealing with people like that, everyone, I'm not going to say everyone's the same, because no one is the same. Everyone has their own ways of dealing with such a situation. I used passive aggression. Magnum uses a lot of aggression, like violence. He will stand up in a classroom and be like, "Come at me, bro." I'll be in the back of the classroom messing with their heads, because that's who I am. I like doing that. But it doesn't mean that me and Magnum are the same. Me and Magnum dealt with a lot. Like, he's dealing right now with bullying right now in his school. I've already dealt with it. His bullying is a lot similar to mine. So me and him are quite the similar, but not as similar, if that makes sense. But I class him as family, because if I was near him, if I was in Scotland with him, I would be more than glad. If I was his age, actually, you know. If I was the same age as him, in the same school, the same classroom, I'd be in the fight with him. Don't care. I'd be in the fight with him, because that's who I am. And I'd be there for Magnum flawless, no bother, because he's family to me. Even though he's not blood or anything, he's part of the branch. He's part of my branch. Not my family's branch, my own branch. So yeah. My moment of school, it was pretty much passive aggression. Like, the first bit was aggressive, and then a lot of passive aggression. Magnum's, I guess, is still going for aggression. I hope he understands what I mean by PA, passive aggression. But I totally agree with what he says. School, high school, grade school, whatever time, college, university, it's all a chapter in your life. As soon as you get past that chapter, everything can get easier. And I'm going to use that a lot, because that made me think. I was like, I like that. I should use that, because it made an impact on my brain. I was like, on my brain, like, it's not that big, but it made an impact on me, and I was like, oh my god, it's alright. It's just a chapter. Once you finish with that chapter, you can just carry on. So I guess that's pretty much it that I've covered. I've got to make this, like, really at 15 minutes, so yeah. If you enjoyed this, guys, and you want to get more involved with it, please leave a like, a favourite, a comment below with what you are dealing with at school and high school, and I will try and mention it in my next vlog. Please leave a subscribe and all. Would be great. Bye, guys.